For a month in advance, the people who filled the courtroom had been told by the press that they would see the man who was a greedy enemy of society. But they had come to see the man who had invented Rearden Metal. One of the judges, acting as prosecutor, had read the charges. "You may now offer whatever plea you wish to make in your own defense," he announced. Facing the platform, his voice inflectionless and peculiarly clear, Hank Rearden answered, "I have no defense." "Do you?" The judge stumbled. He had not expected it to be that easy. "Do you throw yourself upon the mercy of this court?" "I do not recognize this court's right to try me." "What?" "I do not recognize this court's right to try me." "But, Mr. Rearden, this is the legally appointed court to try this particular category of crime." "I do not recognize my action as a crime." "But you have admitted that you have broken our regulations controlling the sale of your metal." "I do not recognize your right to control the sale of my metal." "Is it necessary for me to point out that your recognition was not required?" "No. I am fully aware of it, and I am acting accordingly." "Do you mean that you are refusing to obey the law?" asked the judge. "No, I am complying with the law, to the letter. Your law holds that my life, my work, and my property may be disposed of without my consent. Very well, you may now dispose of me without my participation in the matter. I will not play the part of defending myself where no defense is possible, and I will not simulate the illusion of dealing with the tribunal of justice." "But, Mr. Rearden, the law provides specifically that you are to be given an opportunity to present your side of the case and to defend yourself." "A prisoner brought to trial can defend himself only if there is an objective principle of justice recognized by his judges, a principle upholding his rights, which they may not violate, and which he can invoke. The law by which you are trying me holds that there are no principles, that I have no rights, and that you may do with me whatever you please." "Very well. Do it." "Mr. Rearden, the law which you are denouncing is based on the highest principle, the principle of the public good." "Who is the public? What does it hold as its good?" "There was a time when men believed that the good was a concept to be defined by a code of moral values, and that no man had the right to seek his good through the violation of the rights of another. If it is now believed that my fellow men may sacrifice me in any manner they please for the sake of whatever they deem to be their own good, if they believe that they may seize my property simply because they need it, well, so does any burglar. There is only this difference. The burglar does not ask me to sanction his act." "Are we to understand," asked the judge, "that you hold your own interests above the interests of the public?" "I hold that such a question can never arise, except in a society of cannibals." What do you mean?" "I hold that there is no clash of interests among men who do not demand the unearned, and who do not practice human sacrifices." "Are we to understand that if the public deems it necessary to curtail your profits, you do not recognize its right to do so?" "Why, yes, I do. The public may curtail my profits any time it wishes, by refusing to buy my product." "We are speaking of other methods." "Any other method of curtailing profits is the method of looters, and I recognize it as such." "Mr. Rearden, this is hardly the way to defend yourself." "I said that I would not defend myself." "But this is unheard of. Do you realize the gravity of the charge against you?" "I do not care to consider it." "Do you fully realize the possible consequences of your stand?" "Fully." "It is the opinion of this court that the facts presented by the prosecution seem to warrant no leniency. The penalty which this court has the power to impose on you is extremely severe." "Go ahead." "I beg your pardon?" "Impose it." The three judges looked at one another. Then their spokesman turned back to Rearden. "This is unprecedented," he said. "It is completely irregular," said the second judge. "The law requires you to submit a plea in your own defense. Your only alternative is to state for the record that you throw yourself upon the mercy of the court." "I do not." "But you have to." "Do you mean that what you expect from me is some sort of voluntary action?" "Yes." "I volunteer nothing." "But the law demands that the defendant's side be represented on the record." "Do you mean that you need my help to make this procedure legal?" "Well, no. Yes. That is, to complete the form." "I will not help you. The third and youngest judge, who had acted as prosecutor, snapped impatiently, "This is ridiculous and unfair. Do you want to let it look as if a man of your prominence had been railroaded without a—" He cut himself off short. Somebody at the back of the courtroom emitted a long whistle. "I want," said Rearden gravely, "to let the nature of this procedure appear exactly for what it is. If you need my help to disguise it, I will not help you." "But we are giving you a chance to defend yourself, and it is you who are rejecting it." "I will not help you to pretend that I have a chance. I will not help you to preserve an appearance of righteousness where rights are not recognized. I will not help you to preserve an appearance of rationality by entering a debate in which a gun is the final argument. I will not help you to pretend that you are administering justice." "But the law compels you to volunteer a defense." There was laughter at the back of the courtroom. "That is the flaw in your theory, gentlemen," said Rearden gravely, "and I will not help you out of it. If you choose to deal with men by means of compulsion, do so. But you will discover that you need the voluntary cooperation of your victims in many more ways than you can see at present. And your victims should discover that it is their own volition, which you cannot force, that makes you possible. I choose to be consistent, and I will obey you in the manner you demand. Whatever you wish me to do, I will do it at the point of a gun. If you sentence me to jail, you will have to send armed men to carry me there. I will not volunteer to move. If you fine me, you will have to seize my property to collect the fine. I will not volunteer to pay it. If you believe that you have the right to force me, use your guns openly. I will not help you to disguise the nature of your action." The eldest judge leaned forward across the table, and his voice became suavely derisive. "You speak as if you were fighting for some sort of principle, Mr. Rearden. But what you're actually fighting for is only your property, isn't it?" "Yes, of course, I am fighting for my property. Do you know the kind of principle that represents?" "You pose as a champion of freedom, but it's only the freedom to make money that you're after." "Yes, of course, all I want is the freedom to make money. Do you know what that freedom implies?" "Surely, Mr. Rearden, you wouldn't want your attitude to be misunderstood. You wouldn't want to give support to the widespread impression that you were a man devoid of social conscience, who feels no concern for the welfare of his fellows and works for nothing but his own profit." "I work for nothing but my own profit. I earn it." There was a gasp, not of indignation, but of astonishment in the crowd behind him, and silence from the judges he faced. He went on calmly, "No, I do not want my attitude to be misunderstood. I shall be glad to state it for the record. I am in full agreement with the facts of everything said about me in the newspapers, with the facts, but not with the evaluation. I work for nothing but my own profit, which I make by selling a product they need to men who are willing and able to buy it. I do not produce it for their benefit at the expense of mine, and they do not buy it for my benefit at the expense of theirs. I do not sacrifice my interests to them, nor do they sacrifice theirs to me. We deal as equals by mutual consent to mutual advantage, and I am proud of every penny that I've earned in this manner.